Move over, Mitt Romney. Jeff Flake is back, and he wants the title of worst Republican ever. Democrat Kamala Harris says President Trump's Twitter account should be suspended, and Rashida Tlaib probably wishes she waited one more day to avoid her own Twitter mess. All that and more. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour.
And God bless the United States of America.
All right, friends, welcome to the show. And before we jump into the news, I just have to tell you about my friends over at Bottle Breacher. You guys need to check them out because they have the very best in man gifts and promotional items. It's a veteran-owned company, made in America products. Just go to bottlebreacher.com, use coupon code Bobby13-A1 for 20% off your next purchase. That's bottlebreacher.com, use coupon code Bobby13-A1. All right, we are going to talk about, we talked about a couple shows ago about Mitt Romney, all right? And I just went off on him. But in the title, in the chase for worst Republican ever, he gets a run for his money from Jeff Flake. I mean, this guy, he won't go away. He's a former senator of Arizona. And at every opportunity, he tries to bash President Trump. Even now, he's not in office and he's still doing it. Now, if you remember from last year, during the Brett Kavanaugh hearings, Jeff Flake won the Spineless Award because he's so wishy-washy. And remember, he was going to take an elevator and he was confronted by protesters. And all of a sudden, he went limp and lame, saying, I don't know who to vote for. And this is all just too much and everything. It's just pathetic. Well, he's back. And here's what he's up to, according to the Western Journal. Former Arizona Senator Jeff Flake urged Republican senators Monday to save their souls by taking a strong stand against President Trump. If they couldn't bring themselves to remove Trump from office in the event the House impeaches him, at the very least, they should oppose his re-election, Flake argued in an op-ed the Washington Post headlined, Fellow Republicans, there's still time to save your soul. So see what I mean? Instead of being productive, he goes over to the Washington Post, says, hey, I've got this anti-Trump op-ed. And of course, they're going to run it. They're dying to run anything that's anti-Trump, especially from a so-called Republican. And he just goes on to bash it. And here's more from the Western Journal. They write, Flake argued in his post-op-ed that he was standing for many principles by opposing Trump, citing the president's hostility toward America's foreign alliances and trade agreements, his harsh statements about the media, and his resentment toward refugees. At home, I was convinced that his repeated disparagement of the judiciary, antagonism toward Congress, and casual disregard for the truth were damaging our democratic institutions, and his persistent crudeness to his political opponents and cruelty toward vanquished foes were degrading our political culture, Flake wrote. All right, so what a waste of time. What an absolute waste of time. You have Democrats in the left actually degrading our political culture. I mean, from the moment Trump was elected, it's been attack, attack, attack with baseless accusations. And has Flake ever spoken out against the Democrats? Ever spoken out against the media? Ever spoken out against the left? No. He's right there with Mitt Romney, walking hand in hand, saying, Trump is bad, Trump is bad. We need to repair alliances and all this stuff. Look at what President Trump has done for the economy. Look at what he's done against ISIS and terrorism. Look at what he wants to do for border security and removing Obamacare, and yet Republicans are just as bad as Democrats in opposing him. And Jeff Flake, I think he's the worst. He might top Mitt Romney. I want to know what you guys think. But next we want to talk about Kamala Harris because she is going off. Everyone's talking about impeachment, and she was on with Anderson Cooper on CNN, and she's talking about the same kind of stuff. And here's what she said about President Trump.
The President of the United States used American taxpayer dollars and held them hostage with an expectation of favor from the head of a foreign government. He should be concerned, but I don't know that he's ever demonstrated empathy on one end of the scale or consciousness of guilt in any real way on the other end.
So she said President Trump used American taxpayer dollars, held them hostage for political favor from a foreign government. All right? That's what she said. All right, first of all, that's not what President Trump did. Second of all, that's exactly what Barack Obama and Joe Biden did with Ukraine. They held them hostage. They withheld U.S. assistance until Ukraine performed a political favor for Joe Biden regarding Joe Biden's son. And you know this had to happen as vice president under the direction of Barack Obama. That's exactly what they did. And Kamala Harris is accusing President Trump, and no one's talking about Obama and Biden. Well, then Anderson Cooper asked Kamala Harris about a tweet that President Trump put out over the weekend. And what she referenced, Pastor Robert Jeffries, okay? And here is what Trump tweeted. He said, if the Democrats are successful in removing the president from office, which they never will be, it will cause a civil war-like fracture in this nation from which our country will never heal. And that's Pastor Robert Jeffries, okay? So that's the tweet that Trump passed along. And even in the tweet, Jeffries isn't calling for civil war. He says a civil war-like fracture, meaning a major fracture, something major, something big, something important, all right? Well, CNN have all freaked out, and Kamala Harris freaked out, and here is her response to that tweet.
Were you, I guess, I was going to say, were you surprised? I assume,
yeah, we're all speechless. Yeah. No, we're all speechless. Anderson, the last time our country endured a civil war was over America's original sin, slavery.
All right, so before we go on, I just have to address the one thing she said about slavery being America's original sin. And I can't stand that stuff because they make it sound, the left wants so badly for everybody to think that slavery was some kind of American invention, around, and the founders embraced it. And in order to make like a stain on America, its founding, its founders, and the American form of government so that they can change it. And they completely disregard the fact that slavery was a world institution. It was a world practice. It helped a world economy. They used slavery in a world economy. And so this whole idea that it was a stain on it's America's original sin is nonsensical, and it's not true. Yet they go ahead and say this over and over again to bring down America at its foundational core so that they can rebuild it in some kind of left-wing socialist image. So she went from there then to say that based on what President Trump says and tweets, that his Twitter account should be suspended. And here's what she said.
I frankly think that based on this and all we've seen him do before, including attacking members of Congress, that his Twitter account should be suspended. I think there is plenty of now evidence to suggest that he is irresponsible with his words in a way that could result in harm to other people.
So that's just insane. And this is what the left always tries to do. If they get attacked, they will not debate. They never debate. They try to silence the voice of their critics. And for her saying that Trump should be kicked off of Twitter because of what he writes, I mean, that is just, the left actually advocates violence. They've done it. We've seen it at rallies with Antifa and other things. And yet they're the ones that are trying to shut down an opposition voice from President Trump and from other conservatives. It's just ridiculous. So now I want to move on to this story that you probably heard about, and you probably heard about it because it's racially charged, okay? It involves this young African-American girl who says she was pinned down on a playground by 3 white boys who then started to cut off her hair, all right? And CBS, national CBS, picked up the story, and they fed in their feed from a local CBS affiliate, broadcast it nationwide, and here's part of that report.
Where were administrators? Where were anybody to protect her from this heinous crime?
Cynthia Allen is overwhelmed with frustration after learning what her 12-year-old granddaughter Amari went through on this school playground Monday.
So right there, I want to point out something that's very important, to listen to what the media, these reporters say. All right, right there, she said that this is what the girl went through. All right, she didn't say this is what the girl says she went through. This is what the girl claims. This is what the girl alleges. No, she said this is what the girl went through. Just like the Jussie Smollett interview on ABC, where he was sitting there and the interview went like, I'm going to ask a question, you're going to give me the facts, and I'm going to assume it's the facts. That's what they do here. There's no questioning. I mean, you always have to put these kind of persons in a light that these are allegations, that these are claims, yet The reporter stated it as true. And guess what? Rashida Tlaib jumped in the mix, and she tweeted this. She says, "You are beautiful, Amari Allen. You are courageous and strong. You are loved. You see, Amari, you may not feel it now, but you have a power that threatens their core. I can't wait to watch you use it and thrive. Stay strong." All right. She says, you have a power that threatens their core. So that's pretty strong. That's a pretty strong statement from Rashida Tlaib jumping in on this story that was picked up nationally to the girl's defense. And guess what? It was completely fake. The story was 100% made up, and Rashida Tlaib jumps on board. Here's a report from the Washington Times. It says, "It sounded almost too outrageous to be true. A black girl attacked during recess at a private Christian school by 3 white boys who cut off her dreadlocks. As it turns out, it wasn't true. The racially charged allegations made by the 12-year-old Amari Allen were false, according to statements by her family and Emmanuel Christian School in Springfield, Virginia. The latest example of what author and Professor Wilfred Riley calls an epidemic of hoax hate crimes." All right. So this author that they interviewed, he talks about some of the stats and some of the research that he noted and how this case from the very beginning had suspicious markers that people should have taken into account, especially before Rashida Tlaib jumps in and things like that. So here's more from the Washington Times. It says, he said his research revealed 409 confirmed falsified hate crimes concentrated in the past 5 years, a number that has grown since he submitted the manuscript to more than 600, including high-profile incidents involving actor Jussie Smollett, who has denied faking a race-based attack, and the Covington Catholic boys. The Emmanuel Christian episode featured several hallmarks of what Riley describes as characteristics of a probable hate hoax. A remarkable cinematic story, an unlikely setting, in this case an upscale school playground, an accuser or family focused on talking to the media, and a crowdfunding campaign. So next time, before Rashida Tlaib attacks 3 innocent boys in saying that something's wrong with their core, that they're threatened to their core, maybe she should get the facts right before she says anything. And finally, I want to talk about this disconnect that we have in America of doing anything about illegal immigration. We see it over and over again. Politicians don't want to do anything about it. Law enforcement, cities are becoming sanctuary cities. And just to show you how screwy it is, here's Fairfax, Virginia, all right? And they had a police officer suspended because he reported an illegal alien to ICE. Here's a report from the Daily Caller. It says the county police department in Virginia announced Tuesday that one of their officers was suspended for turning an illegal alien over to Immigration and Customs Enforcement and determining the individual had dodged a deportation hearing. Fairfax County Police Chief Edwin Rossler Jr. said the officer in question had a lapse in judgment when he called ICE about the illegal alien. All right, so now cooperating with another law enforcement agency is considered a lapse in judgment. It's just outrageous, and especially when you see how this particular incident went down. And here's more from the Daily Caller. It says, the officer reportedly encountered the illegal alien when responding to a traffic accident on September 21st, during which he discovered that the individual did not have a Virginia driver's license. After running the person's information through the Department of Motor Vehicle system, the officer discovered ICE had issued an administrative violation against the individual for failing to appear at a deportation hearing. The officer verified the warrant, then called the listed ICE agent, who came to the scene and took the alien into custody. The individual was released several hours later with an ankle monitor. So all of that, step by step, they determined, Fairfax County Police determined that the officer had a lapse in judgment. This is what's going on in the country, and it's absolutely crazy. Chicago's recently released a memo talking about how their police force shouldn't cooperate with ICE, and this is going on in city after city. So how are we supposed to do anything about this problem? This is a person who had a deportation hearing and skipped out on it, all right? They should be reported. They should be deported. I mean, it's absolutely outrageous, but think about that today, and then we will be back on Friday for our next show. But that's it for today, folks. Please subscribe, and when you do, please hit that bell so you'll be notified, and we'll see you next time. I'm Bobby Everly. This is a 13-Minute News Hour. Okay, friends, just a little reminder before you go, and no, this does not count against my 13 minutes. Please hit the subscribe button below and tell your friends. And if you happen to miss our last show, you can check it out right here. And also for great conservative news and commentary, please check out GOPUSA.com. All right, folks, we'll see you on the next show. Have a great day.